Welcome back, and welcome to day 2 of this 7-day transformational experience. If you haven't yet watched day 1, I highly recommend that you do this program in order because each step builds on the previous steps. I'm going to link to a playlist that I've created for this program right up here, so you can start at the beginning and work your way through step by step. That's going to be the best way to get the most out of this program. Okay, so from here on out, I'm going to assume that you're doing this in order. Okay, so the title of today's video, All Power Here and Now, because that's exactly what we want when we want to manifest something. We want to access all the power we can right in the moment that you are attempting to manifest something. And so here in this video, I'm going to share some ideas on how you can develop the ability to tap into the power of miracles and channel that power into your reality in the here and now. Okay, so before we go any further, I need to address one minor topic, and that's the idea of working models. Because I generally teach that the reality that we experience in life is a direct reflection of what we believe. And when we want to change something in our world, we need to change what we believe because our beliefs become reflected in the world around us. So that is the foundation for manifesting. That is what really makes manifesting work. So the question that we eventually start asking is, if I need to believe something before it happens, how do I change what I believe? And that's where we start getting into the tools of manifesting. One of the primary tools of manifesting is our ability to focus our minds. Because when we can focus our mind on the thing that we would like to experience, and focus our minds on that experience as if it is a real experience currently happening in the world around us, that shifts our beliefs in ways that nothing else can do. Okay, so belief is the foundation of manifesting. Our ability to focus our minds and imagine what we want are the tools that we use to shift beliefs, and therefore the tools that we use to manifest the outcomes we want. Now, because of this chain of events, focus leading to a change of belief, leading to the outcome that we want, because of this chain of events, there are a lot of people who throughout history have taught that it is the focus of willpower that creates the manifestation. And in fact, this was the working model that I used for a lot of years. In fact, I still use it from time to time. That what I'm focusing on, my mind, my thoughts, my intention, my willpower, is creating the change. And so if we approach manifesting with this idea, with this working model, we can get great results, even without thinking about what's going on in the background with our belief system. So the more we can focus our minds, the more powerful we become as a manifester. I want you to remember that. The more focused you are, the more powerful you are. That is a key idea in manifesting. And so the more we can do to focus our minds and focus our minds intensely on the thing that we would like to manifest as if it is currently happening, the more powerful we are as a manifester. Again, I want to drill this in. The more you can focus on the thing you want without distracting thoughts of what you don't want, without any thought of what is your current reality, focusing all of your attention on what you want your future reality to be, the more you will see the results you want. So again, everything that we can do to improve our focus will help increase your ability to manifest what you want into life. Okay, so How can we increase our focus? Well, I'm going to link another video up here because I spent about a half an hour talking about things we can do on a conscious level to increase our focus. Things like diet, exercise, getting enough sleep, eating the right food. Well, I said diet, eating the right foods. All of the physical things that we can do to keep our bodies functioning well will also help our minds as well. Things that we can do beyond what's in that video are exercising our minds in different ways. In the first course that I wrote back in 2003, the first several lessons were all addressing this idea of focus in different ways. There was a lesson on observation, just simply being observant about the details in the space around you. Whenever you go into a new place, notice how everything is laid out. Notice where the doors are, notice where the windows are, notice where the furniture is. Notice the decorations on the walls, on the furniture, on shelves. Notice as many details as you can, and that will help you develop a stronger focus. That's one way. Doing mental math is another way of developing your focus. Just being able to take a series of numbers. Let's say you're going through the grocery store and you're putting different items in the cart as you go. If you keep a running total in your head of, okay, this is how much this is, add that to the total, this is the price on this one, add that to the total. If you do that as you go through the grocery store, by the time you get up to the checkout lane, you have a rough idea of how much it's going to be. In fact, if you're really good at the mental math, you will know exactly how much it will be. So that's another way of developing your focus. A different way of developing focus is in doing creativity exercises. Again, going back to that course that I wrote in 2003, the idea here is you take any given object, and I first learned about this in a different book that doesn't really matter, but the idea was how many different uses can you conceive of for a common item? And one of the examples in that book was a pencil. How many different things can you do with a pencil besides just simply write with it? Well, the author in there basically came up with ideas of you can use the pencil as a lever to leverage something, at least something lightweight because the wood's only so strong. You can use it as a prop for a window. You can burn the wood, use it as firewood. You can pull the lead, the graphite out of the pencil, use it as a lubricant. A lot of different things that you can do with a pencil besides just simply write with it. Another example that I had in that original course back in 2003, creativity, was the idea of taking two objects that are completely different, serve completely different functions, and imagining how can you combine these two objects into a single object, and what could you do with that? The example I used back then was the idea of a ballpoint pen and a chair. How can you combine these two objects and make anything useful out of it? Well, I thought of an artistic tool, and I imagined creating a chair with the four legs as different ballpoint pens. You had a red pen, you had a blue pen, you had a purple pen, a yellow pen, whatever. And these were big pens because they had to serve as the legs of the chair. But then you could sit in the chair and roll around the room and draw on the floor. That's one way of creatively combining two different objects that have nothing to do with each other. You can make them have something to do with each other. The more you exercise your mind, the more powerful your mind becomes, and the easier it is to focus your mind when the time comes. Okay, these are some different ways that you can exercise your mind, develop your focus. There are natural situations in which we become more focused than usual. As an example, watching a movie or reading a book, when you are totally engrossed in the story, when you are totally absorbed by the action that's going on in the story, many of us will become so focused on that action, on that story, that we really don't notice much about what's going on around us. Someone can be calling our name, someone can be knocking on the door, the phone could be ringing, but if you're totally absorbed by the story, You don't even notice it. We also have the story, the example that many of us have heard when two lovers are sitting in a busy restaurant and they're so focused on each other. They're looking at each other, they're talking with each other, they're thinking about what the other person is saying and how they can respond, and they are so focused on each other that they really don't even notice the world around them. It's like the whole world fades away. Nobody exists except for this person here. That's a really strong, powerful degree of focus. This is the type of focus that we want when we are manifesting our objectives. We want to be so focused on what we are envisioning, what we are intending to create, that the world around us and the problems that currently exist don't even register. When you can make the focus of your intention so real, so vivid, so present in your mind that you don't even notice the world around you, that is power. That helps you manifest the thing that you're looking to create very quickly. So, another example of focus, an example that we are using in this program, is the idea of hypnosis. When a person is in hypnosis, they are so incredibly focused on what's going on inside their mind that they don't even notice the world around them. One of the classic examples, stage hypnotist. I remember seeing a stage hypnotist back in high school. And there you kind of have to wonder, how much are these people just playing around? How much are they just going along with the story of the program? And there's a lot of videos on YouTube that illustrate this in different ways. But the idea was that the kids who were hypnotized were told that they no longer saw the audience. They couldn't see the audience, they couldn't hear the audience. They believed that they were the only ones in the auditorium. And so when they were woken up, it's like, look around, everyone's kind of confused, scratching their heads. It's like, okay, where'd everybody go? I guess I'm supposed to leave. I'm not supposed to be here. If the show's over already? So you get that type of effect in a hypnotic state. Let me bring this up to something a little bit more practical. A lot of people go to a hypnotist to change their behavior, to change the way they live their life. Someone who is addicted to cigarettes, as an example, will go to a hypnotist and work through various issues that they have around the cigarettes and come out of it without wanting another cigarette another day of their life. So very dramatic changes can happen in a hypnotic state. This is something that we are using, at least to some level. Doing these short little sessions that I'm doing at the end of each of these videos is probably not enough to get to that level of change. However, what we are doing in this program will create some degree of transformation. Okay, I've gone off topic here. Well, to some degree, not too much. The idea here is that one of the ways that we can employ an intense degree of focus to manifest what we want is to go into a self-hypnotic state, to relax our bodies, to mentally separate from the world around us, connect to the world inside of us, which if you watched yesterday's video, you'll recognize the terminology there. Separate from the world around you, connect to the world inside, and laser focus your mind on the thing that you want to create. And the more you can do that, the more powerful you become. And the quicker your manifestation will happen. Okay, so There are a lot of different ways that we can use the power of focus beyond just the hypnotic state. Some of the stories that I told in yesterday's video and some of the stories that I told in a different video that I linked to yesterday, I'll go ahead and link to it again here, show the power of our focus. One story that I did not share in yesterday's video is an example of how well this degree of focus can help us manifest. It's a combination of focus and belief, but the primary outer expression of this experience is about focus. So there was a period of time I was in Kansas City. I was working as a temp laborer for a die cutting shop. I was hired to come in, load presses, load paper onto the presses, and sweep the floors. That's pretty much all my job was at that time. I had absolutely no authority in the business. And basically I would go in, I would have a timesheet that they would fill out over the course of the week. At the end of the week, I got my timesheet. I went back to the labor pool office, got a check for the work that I did. Did that week after week after week. Well, for a period of time, I did this experiment where at the beginning of the week, I would imagine the number of hours that I wanted on that timesheet at the end of the week. And I focused my mind on that number. And I focused my mind on the intention that this is the number I'm going to get this week. I made a firm, clear decision about what I wanted. And that was it. I let it go. I did the work. I came in when they told me. I left when they told me. And at the end of the week, when they handed me the timesheet, for so many weeks in a row, I got within a half an hour of whatever number I had set for that week. If I'd set the number 42, if that was my intention, I got somewhere between 41 and a half and 42 and a half, somewhere within that half an hour. If I set the number 48 hours that I wanted for that week, it was somewhere between 47 and a half and 48 and a half. I got within a half an hour of random numbers going between 40 and 50 for that particular week, until one particular week when the guys said, let's go for maximum overtime. I thought that was an interesting idea. I did the exact same thing. I just made a simple, clear, firm decision within my mind. We're going for maximum overtime. We're going to get maximum overtime. I made that clear decision. And because of that clear decision, we ended up getting 60 to 70 hour weeks for 2 months straight. It became too much for me. I made a decision, a new decision, to clear that out. Okay, that's one example. Another example, a story that I haven't told in any of these videos before, not in this series or in previous videos. Also in Kansas City. And actually this was before the die cutting shop. I was hired by a guy that I knew. He had a company that went into different apartment buildings to clean the apartment buildings. Vacuum the floors, clean the windows, that kind of stuff. So I was doing basic manual labor. Well, for a period of a couple of weeks, I had noticed this pattern where I go in and the guy seemed to be a little extra critical. And I kept feeling judged. And I kept feeling put down and criticized. And then one particular morning, I decided, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm going to make a firm decision that I'm going to be happy today. I don't care what else happens. If this guy gets on my case, I'm just going to walk away. I'm just going to simply be happy. I'm going to make this decision. And then an interesting thing happened in that when I went into work, and throughout the entire day of work, the guy never said a negative thing to me that whole day. And it's like, wow, that actually worked. And so the next day I tried it again. It's like, okay, worked the first day, I'm going to make it work the second day. And I realized by that point, I had to approach each day as a new experience. I had to approach it as a new experience. I couldn't just say, okay, well, it worked yesterday, I'm just going to make it as a fair decision that's going to work today. No, that never has worked for me. What always works is to approach each thing as its own separate manifestation. So the second day, I made that firm decision. I am going to be happy today. I don't care what else happens. If the sky is critical, I'm walking away. I'm going to be happy. That's my firm, clear-cut decision. And it worked a second day, and a third day, and a fourth day. And then it got to the point where I started to expect a positive experience in that job, and I didn't really have to do that anymore. So I had gotten past the momentum of getting this new experience started. And once the momentum started carrying it along, I didn't have to focus on it anymore. The story that I told yesterday of dispersing a tornado, that was pretty much making a clear-cut decision based on a belief that I could do it. So there's a lot of different ways that we can use this power of decision, this power of focus in the moment to access that power of miracles to make things happen. It depends on a belief that you can do it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, with the hypnosis programs, with working with a hypnotic state, you can go within yourself, be very, very focused on shifting that belief that you can do this. That is the foundation for making manifesting work. And here we're getting to it only in day 2. Okay, so I think we've covered enough information here. Let's go ahead and get into that guided session. So I'm going to have you relax. I'm going to have you just kind of loosen your body, stretch if you need to, loosen any clothing if you need to do that. Make sure that you're not going to be disturbed for the rest of this video. And that means if you need to shut off the phone, lock the door, whatever, give yourself a safe space where you can truly focus on what we're doing during this time frame. So, actually, let me change my mind here. I'm going to lead you through something else before we get into the guided session. Okay, let's practice this idea of focus. Let's do this a few times so you can get a feel for what it is actually like. Okay, still the same basic idea. You kind of want to give yourself time and space so you won't be disturbed in this process as well. But right now, I want you to just notice being connected to the world around you. Notice how that feels within yourself. Notice how much energy your mind is expending to notice the different things that are around you. Notice the screen that you're watching. Notice the sound that you are hearing. Notice the furniture that's in the space around you. Notice the surfaces, whether it's walls, whether it's concrete outside, whether you're inside or outside, I don't know. Just notice all the details in the space around you. Notice how that feels. How much energy are you expending noticing all these details? And then also notice how much energy you feel in your body and how that energy is spread throughout your entire body. Okay, now that you have that as a starting point, let's concentrate all of that energy into a single point within yourself. And to do this, one way of doing that is to consciously relax your body. Let your muscles go loose, let your muscles go limp, and bring your attention into your inner world. Separate from the world around you, connect to the world inside. Very basic process. We're going to be using this often. Separate from the world around you, connect to the world inside. And just focus on a point within yourself. It can be a dot, it can be a light, it can be an object that you want to manifest, it can be a person that you want to connect with. Just bring your attention to a single point of focus within yourself and bring all of your attention on that one thing. And notice how this feels. How much easier is it to focus on one thing than it is to focus on 100 different things? How much more energy can you put into this one point of focus than you could put onto any of the different things that you were focusing outside of yourself? Bring all of your attention on this single point of focus. And just relax your breathing. Let out a nice deep breath. And continue to focus your mind on this single point of focus. And notice how this feels. Okay, that's good for now. Go ahead and come back out. And notice again what it feels like to be focused on everything around you. Notice how much energy it takes to move your body. Notice the difference in this diffused focus from the concentrated focus of just a moment ago. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's go back in. Let's return to that inner place within your mind. Separate again from the world around you. Connect to the world inside. Relax your body and relax your mind, because here's an interesting thing about focus. Making your focus an intense thing, entering into an intense state of focus, to put it in other words, is not about creating tension within your body. It's not about creating tension within your mind. That's not what creates the intensity. What creates the intensity in this focus is in dropping everything that you do not want to focus on, letting go of all of the distractions, and just allowing your focus to center on this one thing. And as your mind focuses on this one thing and releases everything else that you do not need to focus on, and just allow yourself to become absorbed by this one thing, as if it were a lover, someone that you truly care about, or if it's a thing, something that you truly care about. For some people, certain things are precious, and that's okay. So focus on something as if this is the most valuable thing, this most valuable person in the entire universe. And right now, if it's something you want to manifest, that's a pretty clear description. It's a pretty accurate description. The most valuable thing in this moment. Doesn't mean it's going to be the most valuable thing 10 minutes from now, but in this moment, it is the most valuable thing. So, again, allow your mind to focus on this one point of focus inside yourself. It can be a dot, it can be a light, it can be a person, it can be a thing. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just allow your mind to focus on one thing, and allow yourself to become absorbed by this one thing, captivated by this one thing, entranced by this one thing, and allow your entire focus to be on this one point of focus, and go within and follow this one point of focus to the deepest part of who you are, because at that deepest point is your source of power, is that connection that you have with the divine essence of the universe. And just allow yourself to travel deeper and deeper inside yourself to that single point of focus, letting go of everything you do not need, letting go of any distractions, and continue to intensify this focus by letting go of all other details. Continue to focus more and more on this single point within yourself. And as this single point of focus pulls you deeper into yourself, you are getting closer and closer to the point of power, a point where the entire power of the universe resides. And at some point along this journey, you will start to notice a light off in the distance, a glowing of power. You might even hear a sound that this power source generates. You might notice a feeling within yourself that represents this divine power of miracles, this creative power of the universe, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself. And just allow yourself to be pulled into this source of power, this divine essence, this foundation of who you are. And allow yourself to touch the power of the universe. and notice how you resonate with this power. It becomes alive when you touch it. And you and this power are connected. You are intertwined with each other in a way that goes beyond all description. You and this power are one and the same. And just sit in that realization for a moment that you are in contact with the power of miracles. All of the power of the universe is now within yourself, and you are an expression of this power. Allow yourself to continue to focus ever tighter, ever more intensely on this power, to identify yourself with this power. You are power. Everywhere you go, you are an expression of this power. This power is the life force within yourself. Everything you do uses this power. Whenever you set an intention to manifest anything, this power responds to your conscious control, to your conscious command, to your conscious intention. Imagine that you and this power are one and the same. You are the divine creator of the universe. You have all the power in the world, all the power in the universe within you. Identify with it, become part of it, merge with it. Allow it to be your entire experience at this moment. And notice how you start to become a different person than you were just a few moments ago. Notice how you change on a fundamental level, because now you have a direct experience of being this powerful being where you command the power of miracles. You can perform any miracle you might decide to do at any time. You don't have to reach for it. You don't have to force it. You just have to set the intention, set the focus, and expect that it will happen. Focus, intention, expectation, belief, faith. All of these things work together to create your manifestations. This is the pathway that you will be on from this moment forward. There will never be a time in your future when you are without this power, because you now have this direct experience. Just continue to relax in this power for a moment. And as you're here, you can choose to imagine all of the many different ways that you will use this power. Some of the different experiences that you can handle differently now than you handled in the past. Ways that you can respond to events in the world around you differently now than you responded before. You can approach every situation with more confidence, with more power, being more assured of yourself, expecting the best, because you know you have the power to create the best in all situations, in all relationships, in all circumstances. You are power. And so at this point, we have connected with this power. You can lock in this connection in any way that makes sense to you. You can chain this power to you. You can connect a electrical cord if that makes sense to you. You can create a channel where this power flows through the channel from the source deep within yourself back into your conscious mind when you are in your normal daily waking state of mind. You can access this power in any which way you want. And it's all good. And it all works exactly as it should. And so once you have locked this in, go ahead and allow your mind to rise back up into the world around you and realize that the power that you now have changes everything. Amazing what you can expect in the days ahead. Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to address a different aspect of manifesting, but now you have the power to make it happen. You're welcome to revisit this experience as often as you'd like, to renew that connection with the power if you so choose. But the experience will stay with you. Okay, so that's it for now. Until next time, be blessed, my friend.